I think we do drugs because it's like having a friend over to hang out, a new voice to be with you, but in your brain, right? So you're just like hanging out and someone knocks on the door and then you like open up your mind and then, hello, you look fantastic. And I'm like, thanks, Coke. And then Coke's like, you know what I think? I think you should be the singer in a band. I do too, Coke. Wait, where are you going? Oh, come back in 15 minutes, okay? See you in a second. And then Beer comes over and Beer's like, oh, this is so boring. Take your shirt off and go dance on that bar. And I'm like, okay, Beer knows how to party. Woo! And then Ecstasy comes in and Ecstasy's like, hey, I think you should go dry hump that stool over there. That stool? Uh-huh. I think it'd feel really good. Okay, sure. Give it a try. Oh, yeah, I guess Ecstasy is really convincing. Then Acid comes over, but Acid doesn't say anything to you, right? Acid just like shows you a picture of what sound looks like. And you're like, okay, dude, I got it. That's a little much. I think my favorite drug to invite over is weed. Weed's cool, it makes you think, you know? Weed's like, hey, you know what, man? It's like the universe is like all made out of space. If you wanted to, you should be able to put your hand like right through me. And I'm like, yeah, weed, that's really smart. I'm into it. Well, I used to live in New York City and I partied a lot, did lots of drugs and lots of drinking, and then I moved away. I moved away to live in the country on a farm and became completely sober. And would you guys like to know what 7 years of living a very idyllic, peaceful life in nature taught me? That I'm actually a way better parent when I'm stoned. Yeah, like when I'm sober, I'm super annoying. I'm like, no sugar for you. You have to eat your bok choy and no screen time. But when I'm stoned, I'm like, hell yeah, you can have a cookie. Wait, can I have a cookie? Can I have like 5 cookies? I'll totally watch My Little Pony with you, but you know what we should do? We should listen to Pink Floyd while we watch it. It'll blow your mind. Isn't it kind of ironic that I spent my entire childhood hiding drugs from my parents, and now I'm spending my adulthood hiding drugs from my kids? It's the circle of life. Okay, I'm gonna end tonight with a story. It's a sweet story, a story of hope and redemption, really. So a couple years ago, I was in New York City, and I went out with a friend of mine and had a vodka tonic, and basically every decision I made after that vodka tonic was the wrong one, including 8 more vodka tonics. So we went to this club, and we're like dancing, and I'm like, well, I'm having so much fun, and she's like, you're drooling, let's go. So she takes me away, and the next thing I know, I'm on the bathroom floor of some random apartment in Soho, right? And there's a beautiful Lithuanian supermodel with me, okay? The most gorgeous woman I'd ever seen in my life. And she says to me, you must go throw up now. Wash your hands and throw up. Now, I don't know if you hang out with a lot of Eastern European girls, but they're pretty bossy, and you're gonna do what they say, especially when they look like a fucking angel. So I like go to the sink, and I'm like washing my hands, like looking at her in the mirror, and I don't actually know how to make myself throw up, but I also really wanted to impress this girl I was with. So I kind of like pretended for the pageantry of it. I'm like, and she's like, you're not doing it right. How dare I try to fool a professional? You know, so then she starts to wash her hands, and she's like, I'll do it for you. And at first I'm like, yeah, let's do this, you know? But as she has my head cradled in her arm, and she's taking her 2 fingers about to deep throat me, I look at her into her beautiful, gorgeous gray eyes, and I say to her, I actually don't think I need to puke. And she's like, okay then, fine, we go do some cocaine, you sober up. Now you're thinking, girl. So we go back into the party, and somehow some cocaine flies into my nose, and the next thing I know, I'm having an anxiety attack. Yeah, so I'm like completely panicking, and I'm sitting down on the couch, and here's the Lithuanian model right here, and here's my friend, and they're talking, somehow having a normal conversation, and I'm just sitting there smoking a cigarette, trying desperately to stop my eyes from vibrating. And then suddenly I had this idea, Toni, you should do more anxiety. So I suggested to the Lithuanian girl, let's do more coke. And she then suggests to the man who owns the house that we wanted to do more cocaine. Now keep in mind, everyone in this house was doing cocaine, and yet he insisted we had to go into the bedroom to do it. So I follow this gaggle of beautiful women, and he starts barking orders at us, bossing us around. He's like, you do coke off her tits, you do it off of her stomach, and he's pointing right at me. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. Silence, right? Silence. All the models are staring at me in total disbelief. And then the guy takes his plate of coke and just gives it to me. And I'm like, yeah, girls, you don't have to do all that. They'll just give you the drugs. I like to think I started a movement that night amongst coke whore models in New York City. And I think that if we close our eyes right now, there's a model out there, a beautiful girl, on her knees, looking at a line of coke perched on a man's penis, and she looks up at him and says, I don't have to do coke off your dick. I'm creating a world where my daughter can do free-range, organic coke off a plate like a goddamn equal. That's my feminist revolution.